Hello, Laverne here, and thank you for joining me. This video is a second part to what's turning out to be a short three-part video series on Revelation 4. Now, in the first video, I talked about the importance of understanding the colors and the fact that it mentions three different gemstones, that being carnelian, jasper, and emerald. I explained how when it describes God sitting on his throne and being surrounded by these two colors, being shining in this brilliant color of carnelian and jasper, what it's showing us is that it's actually talking about the two tribes of Israel. The first being jasper, which is represented by the tribe of Benjamin, and the other carnelian, which represents Reuben. Now, Reuben is the eldest of the 12 tribes. He was the firstborn of Jacob, while Benjamin was the last of the 12 brothers. So this is showing us all the tribes of Israel are being represented here. And I also talked about the importance of understanding that Reuben, after the civil war that took place after the death of Solomon, Reuben joined the 10 lost tribes of Israel, while Benjamin stayed loyal to Judah. And so we had the two different states of Israel being represented in these two colors. And what we are seeing in this vision of John's is that the two are being rejoined under a new covenant with God. And the new covenant is represented by the emerald rainbow. So what we see is God shining in these two colors, surrounded by this rainbow, which is the covenant. And then surrounding this throne and surrounding God are four angels. And they have their individual particular description. And this is what I want to talk about now. Because these four angels, what they are doing is protecting the throne of God in heaven. But this whole vision of John's is a vision of something to happen yet, and it's all pertaining to something to happen on earth. It's a future event. And so when we are looking at these angels, they don't just represent and just aren't the angels that are protecting God's throne in heaven, but they are in fact representative of the guardians of God's throne, of God's people, and of God's covenant on earth. That's what this vision is. It's showing us that there are going to be four nations that in the time of the Great Tribulation, in the time of the second coming of Christ, just prior to that, there's going to be this great and terrible time, but there are going to be four nations that are going to protect and stand up for God's covenant and for his people. And we can discern who these countries are going to be by the explanation of the vision. That being that one angel is described as being human, the other as an eagle in flight, another as a lion, and the other as an ox, or as some Bibles read, a calf. So what we need to do is look at the nations that are represented by these symbols. Now, not only the nations outside of Israel, but these angels also depict the ones who are going to be standing up for and protecting God's covenant and his throne within Israel as well. And what we see is that there are four tribes that fit this depiction. Just for example, the nation, or rather the tribe of Judah, is depicted and represented by a lion. And I'm going to include in the sidebar a link to a site, and if you go to the bottom of the page, you'll see a chart that explains the different symbols that represent the different tribes of Israel. Now, one that's not quite so obvious is the tribe of Reuben. Reuben is represented and symbolized by the plant mandrake. Now, mandrake, when you look at the root, it actually looks like a human. It looks human shaped. And it is said that when this root is pulled up from the ground, it actually shrieks, that you can hear it shriek. So this is the tribe that's being depicted by the angel that looks human-like. So it's just so important to understand the true meaning behind these four angels and how they correlate to things that are going to take place on earth during the time of the Great Tribulation. The book of Revelation isn't just about telling us and giving us clues as to who the beast is. It also gives clues as to who the ones are going to be that protect God's throne and his people and his covenant here on earth. And that's what we see in Revelation 4. Now, something else that should be of great interest is the fact that there is one tribe that is very different from the other 11. Because 11 of the 12 sons of Jacob were all born in one area. They were all born in what is now known as, or is it the area of southern Turkey. However, Benjamin was born in the land of the Canaanites. He was born in the land of Canaan, which today encompasses actually a number of different countries. Some of it is in Israel, some in Lebanon, some in Egypt, and a couple other countries as well. So it covered a vast area. But we know that prior to the Israelites conquering that land, it was known as the land of evil. It was the land where giants lived, and these giants were evil. And this is where Benjamin, who is different from the other 11, was born. Now, Jesus had 12 disciples who were also known as the 12 apostles. But one of them, one of the 12, betrayed Jesus. Now, the reason I bring this up is because of the symbol that represents the tribe of Benjamin. For it is none other than the wolf. And we know that Scripture talks about how wolves will come into the church. The wolf will deceive many with his false teachings. And so, what I'm suggesting here, and that people need to consider, is that someone from the tribe of Benjamin, when it comes to the end days, that person is going to deceive and is going to betray the nation of Israel. Now, I'm not saying this person is going to be the beast that we are looking towards and looking for, but he is certainly going to be working with the beast, if not being the beast. So we need to consider in the future somebody coming from the tribe of Benjamin and the kind of teachings and the things that he's going to be doing, who he's going to be working with. All right, in my next video, I'm going to talk about the importance of understanding the 7 spirits of God, and that it's very different from what has been taught up to today. All right, till next time, peace and blessings.